leads me nicely to the next one, Mark, and you've avoided it so far. I'm going to pick on you first for this one. All right, so now we're going to look at kind of the automation element here. This is something obviously you've helped many of your customers with, thinking about within the context of these partner journeys, how technology and automation can help you really to achieve those objectives, to drive partner engagement. I think critically, you mentioned a few times, improving that partner experience and ultimately enhancing those partner journeys. So any thoughts?
Yeah, the thing that we think about when we think about these partner journeys and these collaborations that happen between partners and suppliers, I mean, the biggest hurdle that we see is mind share of these partners. How do you get their attention? How do you keep them engaged? So automation support that, but I think the thing that you have to think through is the engagement aspect of this. What are the attributes you need to have in place for engagement? And then how do you use automation to ensure that those attributes are staying intact? So, if you think about the things we've talked about today, having really clear goals on the engagement, meaning that, the purpose of the engagement that you're having, the experience you're trying to drive, is it learning? Is it proficiency? Is it driving sales? What are those specific goals that you're trying to get to? And then identify those behaviors as things that you want to be able to capture through automation. And typically you want to capture them at the high point of an experience. So let's say something you're doing with a partner that involves gamification. You probably want to capture their engagement during gamification because that's probably the most apt time that they're going to be involved or engaged, right? The relevancy and timeliness of what you do, of your partner program, I think is super important. And there's a value exchange that happens there. So partners, as we were talking about before, partners want to sell their solutions. And if your partnering objectives don't match to that, you're going to have a really hard time getting their attention and capturing their mind share. It's got to align to the partner's offering, and then it's got to offer to what they're doing currently. I can tell you, it's interesting. I've actually had an experience with a partner where the supplier had done a lot of work to understand what would be best for their partners in terms of something they needed, in terms of something that they thought would help progress them through part of their partner journey. And I remember the supplier had many, many conversations with the partner, but it had been a few months. And we went to go roll out this new part of this journey that we had created for this partner with the supplier. And the partner said, this is all great, but we really need some pop-up displays for an event that we're going to in a couple of months. A complete misalignment about what was important to them at that time frame. And I think that's an important piece of it you have to consider. The goals are clear, it's relevant and timely, and then you think about the user experience. Phil alluded to gamification. I mean, depending on how relevant and how clear it is for what your partners to do, we have to sometimes invest more in things like gamification. I think we did a VR experience for one partner where they tried to emulate what a classroom would look like with technology in it, so they could provide their partner with a way to show their customers what that experience would be without their customers having to travel. There's another time we did a cartoon book. I think these characters are above my head here, to explain something very complicated from the technology world to partners in a way that they can easily understand it. So the aspect of understanding the user experience, what's going to get them engaged, not only communicating that the goal of the program is for them to achieve or to learn or to whatever, but what are the things that we're going to do that engage them and that provide value to them along the way, from the learning to what they're going to learn at the end, to what they're going to be able to achieve at the end. But is it entertaining? Is it fun? Is it something that is easy for them to do and seamless? Is it in one environment, or do I have to poke them all over the place, or is it just really easy from a user experience to digest and work through? So when you think about those elements and how automation supports those things, automation enables you to do, these sorts of journeys where people can take them at their own pace, which is a huge thing, because partners are going to engage with you on their time, not necessarily on your time. Do they have the flexibility to meet the partners where they are? Another great aspect of automation. if we can create all these different journeys depending on how, where people are or where they assess to. If we test them, how good are they at this? Maybe they go down one path versus another. And then tracking the partner's progress as part of automation is a huge aspect that's helpful because you can nudge them along and you can see where people are and then modify their path if they're not performing the way that you think that they should be. Send them down another path if they're not quite at the level where you thought they should be from a maturity standpoint. So I think automation has a huge aspect in all of this, with the idea being that, you know, it's a mind share battle that we're really after here with our partners to get them to participate, to engage, and to work through and achieve these goals. And to do that, it's really a lot with alignment and in value, right? It's really those two things that help get the job done, if you will.
Yeah, no, spot on. And I think you mentioned mindshare there. It is a mindshare battle. And if you are able to create a differentiated experience that is easy, that makes you easy to do business with, you know, that is enjoyable and relevant. And I think the relevancy you touched on a few times is absolutely spot on. Is this, you know, is this relevant to my business? Is this something that I'm, you know, actually want to make the commit to? You know, all of those elements are pretty critical in that design process. So thank you, Mark. Really, really great insights and guidance there. And I love the cartoon characters, by the way. They're great. Can we use that? Can you design so for describing PRM for us? Okay, Balaji, Phil, anything to add to that?
I'll just kind of hone in on one thing that Mark said is it's, you know, being relevant and staying top of mind to the partners obviously is a battle that we all face every single day, right? Partners, as Mark said in his previously, there's lots of products that they sell and oftentimes part of the solution. And we use digital reminders as part of the dashboards to kind of gently nudge the partner along the way through their journey. Sometimes it's a carrot, sometimes it's a stick. We've even gone to the point where for our new partners, you know, they have to achieve certain things in their partner journey before modules inside of Allbound and Channel Mechanics are made available to them. So things like you have to have your sales certification before you can register a deal, like simple things like that. You can apply context around that user partner journey to unlock things. So there you are really kind of emphasizing the why I'm doing this, but why am I doing this? Well, if I do this, I'm going to receive a benefit of some sort, whether it's additional functionality within the portal or additional access to resources from the vendor or gamification, an incentive tied to that action. So completely agree with that, Mark.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You know, don't make it available from day one. And if you want access to market funds, this is, you know, this is kind of where we need you to be in order to be able to utilize that or whatever the module or functionality is. I think that's a really great idea. Balaji, any thoughts there?
Yeah, just maybe a couple things. I think some of the key, so Mark actually used some key words that I think everybody should make note of. First of all, he used the word mind share. And as Phil just talked about as well, you know, all of our partners probably are working with anywhere from 6 to 8 other companies, right? And so getting their mind share is very hard. And so please, you know, focus on that. And the way you focus on that is then your engagement process. And Mark talked about, well, what are the goals, right? Phil talked about this as well. What are the goals of what you're trying to do? The other key word that Mark used was behavior, right? What is the behaviors that you would want or expect from your partners? And make sure that you sort of really document that and write it down in your playbook and your journey map as well, because those are very important. In the end, that's what you want to see, right? And the other thing that I like that Mark mentioned was capture that at the height of the experience, right? So now as you have them going through this journey and you're engaged with them, you have goals with them, you're seeing that behavior, but you're capturing it, it really helps you then fine tune your journey map, your programs, your goals and things like that as you go along. And of course, you know, meeting them where they want to be met through automation and making it easy to do business with, I think obviously is something that all of us every day should be focused on with our partners. So I think those are some key words that I wrote down actually. So thanks, Mark, for kind of rolling it out that way for all of us to understand. Back to you, Margaret.
Bye.